Hey guys, this is Red and Blue, your channel on YouTube for all things PSG in English. Please subscribe. Today, let's not talk about PSG. I love doing this. I've worn my finest white t-shirt because today let's talk about Real Madrid for a change. I think it's nice because ultimately, obviously, I'm a PSG fan. I'm here to talk about PSG. I want to keep you guys up to date with what's going on in PSG world. But sometimes the big things in world football are in PSG. And, a team like Real Madrid, we're likely to face them at one point or the other. They've been going through changes. So I guess kind of interesting to take stock of how things are going for them and where things are at. And in this case as well, they had a big game this weekend and a big defeat. In case you missed it, they were playing their Madrid derby against local rivals Atletico. They lost 5-2 in a game where they got utterly dominated. Honestly, I just finished rewatching it, and yeah, it was not good for them. Really, really not good. And I think there's not only is there a lot of learnings, is there a lot of things to talk about in terms of what they said they wanted to do and where they wanted to go, when they brought Xabi Alonso on board. But there's something like for a PSG fan, a little bit anachronistic about this, because there's a lot of similarities to how PSG used to play before Luis Enrique in the Pochettino era and the Galtier era. And so it's kind of helps understand all the changes that we've been through and all the improvements that we've seen. And it really shows, all of the progress that we've had and how much of a better place we're in right now, simply put. I'll just jump right in, and I think there's a few points that I want to touch on. The first one is really the lack of intensity was really, really shocking. And obviously they're playing against Atletico, which is known for a really high energy, high impact, really fighting style football. And Real Madrid, in comparison, was just pretty honestly pretty shockingly quiet and still. And I didn't even look at the data, but the volume of high intensity runs, I assume would be dreadful for Real Madrid. The players are very static. It's very positional football. There's very little runs that are happening. And, most of the times when there's runs, they're not necessarily vertical either. They're just lateral. And, in the duels, in the one-on-ones, yeah, there's really not that much. And so against a team like Atletico Madrid, that not only is going to be very physical in defense, but also very vertical in going at goals and very good at managing its offensive transitions. Real Madrid, in comparison, was just sometimes it looked like they were on the training pitch and just standing there to demonstrate something. The last goal, which is at the very end of the game, honestly, the defenders are just standing there. They're not moving. They're not trying. They're just literally letting Atletico Madrid run all over them. And so, in a game like this, it's shocking to see. You cannot expect to get a result like this. And I think, it's hard to say as well, because so far this season, Real Madrid has had some decent results. They were on top of La Liga before this game. They've won their game so far and played relatively good football. But I guess against a higher caliber of opponents, the difference was really, really, really shocking. And it's something that we used to say the same thing about PSG, that the players weren't running, that the volume of runs was very low, that the number of kilometers per game was way lower than other teams, and that the intensity in the duels was very low. And it's really something that we see in Real Madrid now. And I think, we'll see in October. In October, they're playing a couple of like really high pressure games. So they're going to be playing Juventus in the Champions League, and then they've got the first Clásico against Barcelona. And I think those two games will tell us a lot more about whether this was just an accident or whether this is really where they are right now. Because to be honest, like if I go back to the game that we played against Real Madrid in the Club World Cup, yeah, I don't really see much improvement there. It's really, really, really similar. Second point I wanted to touch on as well is really the idea of individuality versus collective, and also something where we've been there and we've made improvements in Paris. So and that's really what they had said they were bringing Xabi Alonso over for. Is that the Real Madrid team in the last year of Carlo Ancelotti had become like very, very individualistically minded. So every player will do their own things, and there's not really like an overarching collective idea of how football should be played. And honestly, on this game, it's also like completely still the case, and really, really shocking. Once again, when you compare with what we see as PSG fan is one thing, but even when you compare against Atletico, I wish I was caricaturing, but this is really what happens. Is that like during like most of the second half, Real Madrid is down like 4-2, so they really need to create something. And the only thing that's happening is like, okay, pass the ball to Vinicius. Vinicius will try to make a run at its defender. Either like 1 out of 10 times make it through, and 9 out of 10 have to back up and pass it to someone else. So pass it to Mbappé. Mbappé will make a run at his defender, and what time out of 10 will make it through, but otherwise will pass back. And Atletico at that point was playing like five in defense and a line of 4 midfield, very compact. And like there's really, really no hope for Madrid at this point. And yeah, ball goes to the right onto Mastantuono, who will try to make a run and then pass back. And honestly, like nothing is happening. There's no like God bless, actually, Mbappé is probably like the best at this, but like apart from him, there's no players who are making runs or moving around just to try to create space and opportunities for their partners. And so like, Mbappé, like he does that, and like to his credit, like the first goal that he actually scores, it's exactly that. He's like, dropping back to drag his defender, and then he's actually taking advantage of the space he's created himself. But he also did it a few times for partners to drop into the space. But no one else does that. Vinicius, in the end, the second goal, beautiful dribble, like before the cross, like, putting 2 Atletico defenders away. But at the same time, it's one action in 90 minutes. And ultimately, the 2 goals that Real Madrid scores, it's really like their 2 opportunities, and there's really not that much else that they create. So it's a really difficult situation to see. And the problem is that the same thing is mirrored when you look at their defense. Is that the way they defend, all of a sudden, the 4 up front, they don't really do much of anything, honestly. They do like, they make it look like they press once in a while, but it's very uncoordinated. It's very very slow to happen. So it's not really like, it's not really they don't really have any chance of stealing the ball back from Atletico defenders. And then on the other end, like once Atletico goes past this first line of defense, the 2 midfielders are left completely onto their own device. So Tchouaméni and Valverde, they had on one side at their back, they've got Julian Alvarez, who's dropping into the space between midfield and defense. And then they've got Atletico midfielders and some defenders making run at them. And so like, do they go forward to the ball? Do they cover the pass to Alvarez? Like they kind of end in this weird like in-between space. And ultimately, they just drop back because there's just too many players to cover. So they say, like, let us drop back and see if we can at least control our box. And so then what happens is that the Atletico Madrid midfielders, they've got all the time in the world to put in the crosses, to put in the pass, to find the players. And so that's how the goals come. The first one, is a header from Lenormand, where the Atletico Madrid player who's doing the cross, I think it's Simeone actually, or Juliani, like he's got all the time in the world to put in the cross, and then like Tchouaméni, who's dropped back into central defense to try to cover, he still gets beaten, and there's still a goal. And like, yeah. Second, what was the second one? I'm forgetting. Like, I'm thinking of like there's another one as well where like there's a cross from Koke, where Koke is like at the 30 meters away from the Madrid goals to the side, like literally on his own. He's there. He's like no one's coming for him, so he's got all the time in the world, and like it's quality players. So like if you give them this sort of space and time, like yeah, he picks up the pass. You know, I think he goes to Sorlos, who like doesn't have a lot of space in the area, but just 1 meter is enough because the cross is going to be pinpoint perfect because no one made any challenges. Huysen like is missing a little bit of space, and so there's a goal there. The Griezmann goal I've talked about already, but it's the same thing. Like there's like a player running at the central defense, so they try to like push back, but like also like giving space because they have to come out onto the midfielder moving in, and just like it's a mess. It's uncoordinated and it leaves huge gaps and huge spaces for Atletico to take advantage in. And so ultimately, yeah, 5-2 win, and honestly, like it's not undeserved. Like, yeah, like it's really not undeserved. It's just like the level of domination that Atletico had on this game, and you know, ultimately, like it's a hard one, but like you really see like as well, like the players they don't really look like they're enjoying playing for each other. So like there's a time towards the end where I was pretty stunned. It's like Vinicius like tries to get past his guy, and like it looks like there's a little bit of contact. Vinicius obviously drops on the floor and tries to make a big deal out of it. Like Mbappé doesn't even like turn back to look at him, doesn't stop playing, doesn't do anything. They don't even like contest with the referee or like no, they just like, you know, their teammate is down and is like I think there was on this one a little bit of contact, so like, you know, it's not like completely like Vinicius being over the top, but yet like Real Madrid players don't really do anything about it. It's like it's your teammate, man. Like, you know, like so the Atletico Madrid players, like literally one of them gets to the floor, like you see the 10 other ones are like jumping and screaming, and like it's like, dude, like, you know, support your teammates. This is like really basic stuff. So yeah, like it's I don't know. I don't want to read too much about it because you don't know. Like it's like they're having a bad day. They're being beat at their rivals. The crowd is going crazy and so on. So like, and like they're closer to the action than the TV camera, so they know better what's going on. But yeah, I was like this particular one. I was like, whoa, that's pretty stunning, honestly. And then the last point I wanted to bring up as well is that, yeah, ultimately, like a team like Real Madrid, and I assume that's what's been going on for like all of the other games this season, they can win games based on their individuality. But in this case, the players are just not performing. A player like Tchouaméni and Valverde in midfield had a dreadful game. Like in defensive impact, in organizing the game, in their passing, in their defending. I mean, like, Tchouaméni is a big dude. How does he get beaten by Lenormand, like literally within his 6-yard box with a header? It's insane. And then, like, just after, he actually has like he gets the ball in midfield and like literally passes it straight into throw-in from the middle of the pitch. It's just like stuff like this was mind-boggling. Carreras on the left, yeah, dude, like that was really like painful to see. Like he tries to contribute offensively, but doesn't really like do anything. Always have to pass back the ball in defense. Oh, Atletico Madrid players were running at him and like getting him on speed. It's like, dude, you're the left back of Real Madrid. Like, how are you getting beat on speed like time and time again? It's crazy. And offensively, it's hard because like they're each playing on their own, and like that's not how you're gonna beat such a strong defense. So I don't even know if they were not performing because they weren't even like showing how they should be performing anyway. I think like in this context, like Mbappé was the best out of the lot, and like very visibly as well. But even him, like when you compare with what Julian Alvarez did on the pitch, and by the way, like Ousmane Ballon d'Or and everything, and like Ousmane is in my heart of hearts. But man, like if we had Julian Alvarez in PSG, in this PSG, we'd win like 23 Champions League in a row. Really, it's like, oh, he's a quality player, and he's exactly like the kind of false nine that Luis Enrique likes. So yeah, but yeah, you make the comparison with what Mbappé produces. Yeah, Mbappé is doing well by Real Madrid standards, but still, like he drops by and kind of runs around to create space like 3 times in the game. Like Alvarez does it like 3 times in 10 minutes. So and like Mbappé doesn't really like make much of any effort to try to press. Alvarez is like putting pressure on the defenders like a madman. So the difference is pretty hardcore. So yeah, like in the end, you put your faith in your players, in your individual players, without like, I don't want to blame Xabi Alonso because he's proven that he's a fantastic coach. I don't really know like what's going on, but like it didn't really look like they had much of a plan, and more than that, it didn't look like they were able to adapt to the circumstances of the game. Even like the changes that they make, they don't change their tactical shape. They don't look like they've seen something in the way Atletico plays that they want to try to exploit. It's just like, yeah, I'm replacing like Arda Güler, who's playing the right side of offense, with Maston Tuano, who's playing the right side of offense. I'm replacing like, Camavinga comes on, and then like, yeah, Tchouaméni goes into defense, and Asensio goes on the right. And it's like, you haven't changed shapes. Like players have moved in different spots, but the game is exactly the same. Rodrigo comes in instead of Jude Bellingham. Yeah, maybe he goes a little bit more on the left, but honestly, like, really not a massive difference, and it doesn't really make a change to the way the game is going. So yeah, tactically, you come in like really relying on individual and without much of a plan. Your individuals end up like not performing as much as they should, and more than that, like they don't look like they're hungry. They don't look like they want to win the game. So I'm sorry, it's a big game against a big team in a big ground. 11 opposing players who want to beat Real Madrid and really like clearly want to beat them hard. And that's exactly what they did. Nothing to say about that. And yeah, like I said, like, it's not impossible for Real Madrid. I think they've got a good coach. I just like he needs to do what he knows to be the best thing forward. And I think, he needs the player to actually like do what he says. He needs to say things, and he needs player to do what he says. If he doesn't say things, then like at some point he's gonna be out because you're the coach of Real Madrid and it's your job. And if you don't do it, like you're gonna be out. If the players don't do what he says, then there needs to be consequence. And God knows, like they do have enough of a squad to be able to rotate and like put players on the bench if they deserve to be on the bench. Put the best player on the pitch, and I mean, like you can't. It's not like even if they play like I don't know, like if they play their substitute, like they're not gonna win. They're not gonna lose like 6-1 against Atletico Madrid. So I think rock bottom is pretty much there already. So there's nothing to lose. But yeah, it's a long season ahead. We'll see if things improve for them. Like I said, they've been doing well so far this season as well, so maybe it's just a one-off. But let's keep an eye out and like see if they're in real trouble. See what I did there? Anyway, this is what I had for you guys on this game. Tomorrow, I swear, we'll be talking PSG. We're going to be talking Barcelona because this is right around the corner. I just honestly like couldn't be bothered to do a video today with very little information on our injured players and what's going to be going on. But tomorrow, full preview of the Barcelona game. So watch this space for some real PSG content. In the meantime, please drop a like if you like this video. Let me know in the comment if you've seen the real game and what you thought about it, but also in general, if you're happy with me doing non-PSG content as well. And as always, do subscribe to the channel. If you're new to this space, please drop a like. I talk mostly about PSG, but as you can see, I can talk about other things. So follow the channel, hit the bell to get notified of future videos. And even for the Madrid derby, ici c'est pareil!